happening, ladies and gentlemen? Happy Saturday to everyone here, and welcome along once more to the IEM Expo here in beautiful Katowice, Poland. It's time to get day number 2 underway of the ESL Katowice Royale. Yesterday was all about the solos action. Fantastic performance from Vinny, capping off what has been a fantastic few days for him. But today we get down to business. That's right, we are kicking off the duos action today. 2 days of duos to get through and a prize pool of $400,000 as well. Yes, welcome along, ladies and gents, to the desk. My name is Onse. I'm going to be hosting for the next couple of days, and joining me on the desk is 2 fantastic gentlemen. Starting off on the far end of the desk, somewhere over there in the distance, Martin Creek. Season 8 is on us, buddy. I mean, yesterday we got to see some new things that we hadn't seen before.
I mean, butterflies, Mark. Yesterday was just amazing. So much going on, so much action, and with Season 8, so many new things in place. We have the events, we have a bunch of new stuff. The cannonballs.
Oh, the cannonballs. They were fun, man. They were fun. And Stress, fantastic to have you back on the desk to kick things off, buddy. What were your first impressions of Season 8 yesterday?
First impressions of Season 8 was the mobility game is so much different to what it used to be.
Yeah.
Everybody before was like, I'll just find a rift, I'll get in a plane. This time, you've really got to be kind of fortunate. Find a vending machine or get the floor drops, the chest drops for anything that can give you mobility. So real big change, and it's going to be a big change as well for duos as well.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing how that evolves as well today in duos, as we say, kicking off the duos action today. But it's not just us once again, ladies and gents. We want to hear from you guys at home again. So get using that hashtag ESL Katowice Royale. Let us know where you're watching from. Get your questions in for all the guys on the desk, for any players as well. We want to hear from you guys, so make sure that you get your questions into us. But I think one thing we should be doing is touching back on what happened yesterday in the solos. Vinny obviously picking up the win. If you haven't seen it, by the way, go back and watch that final game, because it was decided by just 3 points after 7 rounds of Fortnite. It was insane, right?
To put that in perspective, that's 1 kill difference. That is 1 elimination in any of the 7 games. If Vinny had traded differently, would have been a completely different end game for the winner of the tournament. I think the thing we saw again, though, consistency really is the key in this format. Is you have to get those eliminations every single game to place at the top.
And we've been talking a lot about the eliminations, and yesterday, and how much they actually matter. And yesterday, we got a first view on it. We got proof. We got proof that it's actually the case. You do need those eliminations if you want to make it up there in the top 10.
It's not even that. I mean, we saw a couple of games yesterday where it wasn't the player who took home the victory royale who actually ended up getting the most points out of a game. It was players who were placing second, placing third, but getting those eliminations on the board. And that's really exciting for me, because that kind of changes things up completely, doesn't it? It means that the victory royale, as important as it is and the huge amount of points that it does give you, it's not the be-all and end-all anymore.
Right, it really is not. It's not all about getting that victory royale, but I think the most interesting thing that came from it is throughout the day, we actually saw the international aspect of the tournament balance itself out. Europe started very strong. North America surged towards the end of the tournament, and Vinny comes from behind. Bizzle was in the top 3 as well. Really just a mix of players from all around the globe, right through that top 10 in the standings.
And Martin, we also had, big wins, victory royales coming out for our South Korean competitors. The Brazilian players put up some huge performances as well. We are at a stage now where Fortnite is such a global phenomenon. There's so many players playing it all around the world, as you know. But seeing these competitors play at this such high level must be so exciting for a player like you to see and also be a little bit worried about, I'd imagine.
Yeah, it's really incredible to see so many different nations just showing up in the same tournament, and just everybody's just pulling their weight. Like, everybody's just proving that they can be a part of something big. They're just not good in their home countries. They're actually good on an international scale.
It's certainly going to be exciting to see these guys kick it off today. Once more, as we said, we're moving into duos, but someone we can't forget about. He is the king of animal print. It's Adam Savage. Where are you, buddy? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, handsome. That's right. I'm rocking the zebra print today. You're loving it. Welcome back to the show floor. We're right outside Tomato Temple. Look at this marvelous, incredible set behind me here. There's so much space for activities. It's incredible. We've got so much action coming your way. As you said, the ESL Katowice Royale is about to kick off. Duos today, 2 days worth of it. I can't wait to see what happens very shortly. I'm going to make my way to the main stage here and start announcing our competitors. So many big names, so much talent. Can't wait to see what happens. And they're all playing for a chunk of that $400,000 worth of dollars. Can't wait to see who comes out on top, Mark. I bet you can't wait either.
I mean, I give you a nice introduction, man, and you remind me of my sign out yesterday. I mean, I just about got over that, to be honest with you. But thanks for reminding me.
Dollars.
And, do you know what? Get rid of him. Production, enough of him. Get him off my screen. Anyway, the crowd look fantastic at the moment. A lot of energy in that crowd I can see behind, which we want to see all through the day. Let's touch on today, though. Duos action kicking off. How are you feeling today's going to go? Obviously, Vinny's going to be looking to add to his title of Solos champ.
Do you want the honest answer? I have no idea.
None of us do.
Just like yesterday, at the end of the tournament, it ended, and we went, okay, well, I guess we'll find out who wins because everyone's so close. So there are big names, of course. You got 72 Hours in Chap. I think they're a team that everybody's looking for from North America that are like, they could very well win it. And I want to see how they do in duos. Yesterday may not have been their game. Now it's duos to play together for them.
And we should remind everyone at home as well of the format and how the prize pool, etc. Because we've been talking about how important eliminations are, etc. But Martin, we've got to show, exactly why that is. Because these 5 points for eliminations, as you can see on your screen here, they have been the game changer here, not just that 65 points you get for that Victory Royale.
That is right. As you can see, I mean, each elimination is 5 points. You do have the second place. The first place is, 65 points. So it's not too much if you compare it to racking up a bunch of eliminations. They do matter.
They do matter, and obviously it's not just 7 rounds like we've had recently. 14 rounds of duos to get through to find our champion. We talk about consistency. We talk about the mental aspect of Fortnite and playing for a long time. These guys, they've got a grind ahead of them, but it does mean that we're going to get the best players.
Yes, 14 rounds over 2 days is the key thing. It is a marathon, but at least, it's 7 rounds per day. And I think that consistency, we've mentioned it a couple of times, it's only 9 points between first and second. So if you're constantly putting up second place and the winner is changing, you're just going to be able to take so much more in towards those final games.
Well, let's remind ourselves of exactly what the guys are playing for as well. It's $400,000, Adam, that's it, just to remind you, is what they're playing for. But, the prize breakdown, we talked about how we talk about first place a lot, and we're always looking for the winner, but there's such a big shift in prize money as far as placements are concerned. I mean, just look at the difference there from second to third. The difference is enormous.
Yeah, it's massive, and then you go all the way down. Top 20 places in the duos will be in with the prize pool slots. So that's kind of the thing where you hear the players talk and they say, Vivid tweeted yesterday about how he placed 19th and was disappointed. And you're like, it's still good, but they know they all want to be the one that takes home that first place.
And of course, we have our schedule for today as well of all the games that we're going to have coming up. You can see it there, 7 rounds to get through today, Martin. And I think a lot of players have got to stay focused today because we have so many different rounds. We have 14 to get through over the 2 days that one bad game, especially early on, you've got to keep composure, right?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple of games will really set out your expectations for the tournament as a whole. But there's 7 games today, you have 7 games tomorrow, so if it doesn't really go your way today, you can gather your thoughts, maybe have a little tactical chat with your friend, with your teammate, and just come back stronger tomorrow.
It's like Martin just had a teammate that he maybe wasn't friends with out of the game there at one point, but we'll leave that there. We won't get too deep into that. But I mean, so much action to get through.
Yeah, and it's a good discussion because yesterday I feel like we saw the players that were willing to adapt to the changes the most and not just have one drop spot that everybody knows is theirs. The ones that go to other places say, okay, well, I lost this, but that means I only lost in this game. I can do something different for every other game. And players like Majin, who ended up, I believe, second in the standings, did incredibly well without having a strategy coming in, because his strategy was getting into a Stormwing, and then Stormwings got vaulted. So he's like, oh, okay, well,
yeah, it's a forced change of game plan, isn't it? But that's enough from us from the desk for the moment. Gentlemen, fantastic to have you here. But I think it's about time that we meet the players. Adam has got to introduce them all. So, Adam, it's over to you.
Good boy. Good boy. Right, it is that time to meet our competitors. We're all ready, right, guys? Are you ready for this? Yes, you are. Okay. Now, I've got to read out 100 names. Bear with me, okay? But we're going to get through this. These are the competitors you're all here to see, watching at home as well. We can't wait to get them out here. Let's do this thing. First up, we welcome to the stage Jamside and 7SSK7.
Here they come then, gentlemen. Our first duo of the day. Belarus and Russia being represented by these 2 players. Extremely excited to have these guys participating in the tournament.
Yeah, we saw Jamside yesterday, placed 38th overall in solos. So we know that they're competing. We know that they're getting in the mix. I want to see in the duos how that changes.
Next up, we have Moana and Include.
Another two Russian competitors coming out here. Didn't see too much of them in the solos yesterday, but as we say, some of these players, they're just looking to be those duos.
Yeah, and as you said, we didn't see too much of them, but the interesting thing about this is it's a completely different game, and we know from watching other esports, a lot of the Russian players and players from the CIS region are just very competitive in general. They're always posting at international events.
I think they're coming out any second now. Moana and Include will be with us in just a moment. Come on, guys. Probably backstage busy. There they are. Backstage busy practicing. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Hey, that's what we want to see. That's what we want to see from the guys. Lots of energy.
Love it. All right, next up, we have Koffer and Beehive.
I'm just hoping they don't take the L in the tournament.
Yeah, that'd be awkward to do, but moving on to these two guys here, two Swedish competitors coming through. Again, showing the range of nationalities we have in this tournament.
Yeah, Beehive with a pretty good
Lovely
performance
stuff. Well
yesterday.
done, lads.
With the top
Okie dokie. Time for our next duo. We have Marky and Ryux.
Another two players were expected to do big things in the duos today. A real opportunity for these guys to step up.
Going straight for the trophy. I love it. I love it.
Bad luck.
Welcome, lads. Welcome. Alrighty. Next up, we welcome to the stage Provoked and Tux.
Here they come from. I'm feeling a bit sorry for Adam. He's going to be knackered by the end of this. We've got so many players to get through, but obviously, he's absolutely enormous, isn't it? It's one of the tallest players I've ever seen.
All right, next up, let's welcome to the stage Aries and Noah.
Aries doing very well yesterday. In the top 10, 10th place for him, and it just kept performing.
Well done, lads.
In that action feed.
Good luck in the tourney. Next up, would you please welcome to the stage Isma and Lolito.
Two of our Spanish competitors coming out now. Obviously, talking about the nationalities, lots of European flair here in Katowice, and these two Spanish guys will be looking to represent Spain as well as they possibly can.
Well done, lads. All right, next up, next duo is Mies and Jules.
What a performance from Jules. Won one of our games yesterday. I think it was versus Mitro in the end of all things. So a really solid performance. Looking to see what they can do today.
Bonjour, messieurs. Welcome to the show. All right, next up we have Madsen and Seth.
Both Madsen and Seth with a pretty good performance yesterday, both top 30. We'll see if they can make some better adjustments with play today.
Give it up next for Tixi and Mushway.
Belgium and France being represented here. Again, European flair being added to this tournament. Got to say that quite a lot because we've got so many European players in this tournament.
It's very true.
Welcome in, lads. Good luck today. Next up, we welcome to the stage the X2 twins, Jordan and Jesse.
And what better duo partner than having your twin right next to you?
Yes,
So
very,
much
very true.
expectation on these guys as well. Oceania region, these guys have been crushing, and now we get to see them in duos.
Welcome in, lads. All right, next up, Airwax and Nikov.
Now, I don't want to say this to you, but Airwax was your pick yesterday,
it was
right,
my
Stress?
pick. Airwax is my man. Obviously, a long history in other esports with seeing Airwax. I'm very confident. These guys online in Europe have been doing so well, and it's one of those duos that we cannot wait to see.
We say a big hello to Rizart and Lama.
Here we go, then, two of our Japanese competitors, and these guys, they had some pretty solid performances yesterday, again showing that reach and the real global feel of this tournament.
Next, Envy and Sidhu.
South Korean competitors who I think in the solos, they were going super aggressive, and I want to see whether they continue that into the duos as well. Like, these guys look pretty impressive.
Good to have you here, lads.
I want to see the duos again.
Alrighty.
So many teams.
Please welcome to the stage Alpha and Bowman.
And here's my favorites, my boys. I have big expectations for these two, and look how handsome they are. Just look at them.
Oh, look at the pressure you're putting on them as well. I mean, if they don't win now, it's on you, Martin.
And now we have Mota and Eric Triceps.
Maybe not the strongest performances yesterday in the solos, but as we say, bit of experience under the belt. First tournament, especially for Eric.
Yeah, and that is such a key thing, that getting that initial experience to actually be able to stabilize yourself before the big day here. We've got 2 days of competition coming. They got to be ready.
Good luck, lads. All right, next up, Far and History.
Brazil being represented here by these two gentlemen. I mean, one of the Brazilian players picked up, it was History, I believe, who picked up a Victory Royale yesterday. So big performances coming in from them and showing they can hang in the top spots.
Overall 9th place. What a performance from History.
Next we have Blacks and the Vic.
Next to each other in the scoreboard yesterday, 12th and 13th place, so looking good.
Yeah, there were so many of the French community and French pro players that just really posted strong results. So these guys you got to watch out for. 12th and 13th.
Oh, there it is, the first dab of the day.
Someone had to drop it. Nice. Next up, please welcome Max Zalaba and Keolis.
Two more French players here, gentlemen. We talked about how the French community came out strong yesterday. Kind of fell away towards the end of the tournament. And with this longer format, we'll have to see if they can adjust that. Obviously representing Team Vitality there as well.
Next, we welcome to the stage Vilex and Kinzel.
Greece and Slovakia being represented here. And Susain, an interesting mix of countries. Will there be a language barrier? We have to find out. Obviously, we would imagine there wouldn't.
I imagine not.
That'd be a bit of a risk to take, wouldn't it?
We're all busting out the dabs. I love it.
Only use the ping system.
Okay, next up we have Aspect and Animal.
Now, talking of expectation, a lot of people have these two guys just high up. And yesterday we saw in the solos a good placement out of Animal, 6th place overall. And I really cannot wait to get into this game one, see where they drop, see what ends up going down.
Lovely. We next have Milan and Smeef.
The young prodigy, Martin, someone that you've certainly got your eye on to perform today.
Yeah, Milan, one of those young prodigies, really, really good. Have high expectations for him, and a little wave there to the crowd.
All right, let's give it up next for 07 and Lil J.
Two more of our Chinese competitors coming out here. Fantastic to see them again here in Katowice. I want to see these guys playing some duos today. I want to see how they mesh as a team, see what their teamwork's like, and see if they can pull some upsets.
Alrighty, make some noise for Zeke and Poverty.
Now, these guys have had so much experience on this stage. We had them last week in the Katowice Royale Polish edition, so they are very well accustomed to having the crowd. You can hear
the crowd like these guys.
Next up, the local lads, Skix and Hoopek.
Now, I wonder if the crowd's going to get loud for these guys again. Obviously, as you say, Stress, very used to this main stage here, very used to the imposing stature of Tomato Temple looking down over them.
A big welcome next to Via Linen and Windwalker.
These guys are absolute animals. They're really good. They're aggro players. Still make it to late game, but yeah, look at them.
Welcome to the stage, you two. Welcome to the show. Next up, big round of applause for Tomo and Item.
It's funny, Item, a name that not a lot of people knew coming into this, unless you were, playing in scrims, watching a lot of the online tournaments. But now, Item, after a really strong performance, putting him in 11th place, has made a name for himself and posting results for the UK. A lot of UK players in that top 20 yesterday.
All right, next up we have Dementos and Fuexi.
Latvian and Germany coming together here. And Dementos we saw a few times yesterday, picking up some big eliminations. And I believe we just saw, was that the second dab of the day? Have we got a dab counter somewhere in the corner? Yeah.
Alrighty, next we have Joel and Power.
Power, a name that's been around the scene for a very long time in the European online community. And
That's right.
I want to see, again, now offline. This is one of the first times we're seeing a lot of these players in person. Want to see if those online results translate.
Next, we have Shinken and Stompy.
Shinken and Stompy then, another one of our duos. I'm feeling for Adam. Adam's straight's probably got to be going by right now, haven't we? Got 30 of the duos out, 20 more to go, gentlemen. We're getting there, we're getting there.
Next, we have Camo and Issa.
Popularity in this place, and a lot of it, I think, as well, is to do with the online performance that some of these guys do. I mean, clearly favorites here. Camo putting up huge results in solos versus scrims online. So again, just one of those guys that now that we're offline, it's all about performing.
Next, we have Bloodex and Zipan.
Here they are, Sipan, the aggro player, and Bloodex, the mind, the brawn and the mind, the brain and the brawn.
Next up, we welcome to the stage Sakona and Scram.
Scram picked himself up to Victory Royale yesterday, ended in 8th place for the solos tournament. So just another one of these names that you're going to see come up time and time again. I want to see what Sakona can do as well.
Yeah. Next up, give it up for Fax Fox and Aim Hero.
Now, one of our players from South Korea, of course, picked up a huge Victory Royale yesterday, and he had the biggest smile on his face when he did it as well.
And according to Fax Fox's Twitter, these are the challenges for Nick Merckx and Aiden at Tilted.
Oh, it's going to be fun. That's going to be so fun.
Here come the lads. It's Myth and Cloud.
If you don't know these guys, you might have been hiding under a rock for a while. Here they go. Here they come. They're getting the crowd hype. That's what we want to see. Myth getting everyone going here. Duos action for them today.
What?
Let's see what they can do.
That's a trophy.
Put it back there. Good lads. Thank you.
Security.
Bad luck if you touch those.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Next up is Razaru and X8.
Razaru, we saw a lot of times getting towards the end zone yesterday, had some pretty solid performances. Really excited to see what these two could do in duos today. It's just one of those duos that kind of sticks out, and I just think these two, they could cause some problems.
Give it up for Kaiser and Majin.
Imagine what a performance yesterday. We saw him in every end game, and he managed to get second at the very end. Yeah?
Second overall. Such a strong
3 points
performance. Only 3 points between second and first. If it's that close over 14 games, this is going to be a nail biter.
Now we have Vinny and Zexro.
Now, if you didn't know about Vinny, you sure do now. Our winner of the solos yesterday. At the end of the day yesterday, when he lifted that trophy as well, he just said, I can't wait to team with Zexro tomorrow and pick up that duos trophy after a couple of days of action.
These guys have to be the pick, right? They both performed amazingly, and you've got to say, these guys are the ones that we're aiming for first.
Next, we have Zayt and Saf.
Zayt and Saf obviously coming off the back of some big performances recently at the Secret Skirmish. So these two definitely going to be a dangerous duo moving forward. Keep your eyes on Saf. Big plays coming out of him.
All right, let's give it up for Cripper and Boya.
Another one of our duos being introduced to the stage. Cripper and Boya. We didn't see too much of them yesterday in the solos, but moving towards the duos, a lot of these players are keeping their eyes on that. They saw yesterday as kind of feeling their way into the tournament. When they get into the duos, that's where they're most dangerous.
Some more local lads. We have Tajovsky and Nero.
I was thinking the crowd
Listen
might
to this
be a
play.
little loud on this one.
And all I can think about is the cannibal.
Yeah, maybe stay away from the cannons today, Tajovsky.
Yay! Tajovsky!
Okay.
Love it. That's what I want to see.
At least it wasn't off stage.
That's very true. That's very true. Embrace the meme.
Love it, love it, love it. Next, it's Vivid and Poach.
Another two huge names in competitive Fortnite as they find their way out onto the stage. Big smiles. Maybe not so yet, but they will be when they see this crowd.
I love the mentality from Vivid, saying, yesterday I didn't get what I want, tomorrow I'm bringing the fire.
Welcome to the stage, Demo and Bizzle.
Now, Bizzle yesterday very much in contention for those top spots. He was one of those 3 players who was in contention of winning it all when it came down to that final game. And what a player he's got alongside him in duos, Demo as well.
Again, and such a dangerous team to play against. I really have to say, a lot of the American duos are the ones that have a lot of time and a lot of expectation for performing well.
So composed, I love it. Next is Kuna and Mitro.
One of the biggest characters in the game. Martin, I know you love this guy.
Yeah. Just look how handsome Kuna is. You know? All the Swedish players, just so handsome.
I feel like there's a slight bias every time a Swedish player.
Well, that's me,
yeah,
right?
I respect that.
Please welcome Svenos and Andiza.
Go on then, Martin. There's another Swedish player coming out here.
Well,
Stay
he's
one
not
spot.
Swedish, he's Dutch.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Common misconception.
Apologies.
Mark,
tried to set you up
won't
there.
give the compliments.
Yeah.
Swedish.
We're delighted to have them here. Give it up for Nick Merckx and Aiden.
The self-proclaimed Kings of Tilted Tower coming together once more. Looking forward to those early battles going down in Tilted. Who's going to win that one? We know they're going to have some challenges.
And Aiden started racking up the results again later in the day, so really got to keep our eyes on these guys.
Welcome, guys. We now have Funk Bomb and Nate Hill.
Funk Bomb and Nate both had pretty solid performances in the solos yesterday, getting to a lot of end games. Obviously represented FaZe Clan there, but these are a dangerous duo.
And they've put up good results in other tournaments. We've seen the Fall Skirmish results that came through as well. So again, another North American duo that we absolutely can't underestimate.
Next, we have Skite and Vato.
Good performance from both of these players yesterday, so they should be booming with confidence. Just look at them. I mean, walking there, they're looking pretty good.
Skite yesterday was one of the players who really impressed me early on, especially in those first couple of games. He had some big games.
Our penultimate team, we have Hunter and Keenstar.
And this is the duo that I think everybody in Europe has a lot of stock behind. Keenstar performing very well yesterday, 3rd place overall, and came out swinging early on. Again, when all of these start clashing in the late game, that's going to be the beauty of this duos tournament.
And last but by no means least, please give it up for 72 Hours and Chap.
72 Hours gave us one of the best interviews I've seen in esports in a long time yesterday. Certainly excited to see these two go at it. I'm sure they've got their eyes on that first place. They expect nothing more.
Welcome, gentlemen. Good luck. Good luck. Well, after that, 100 names, I think I did okay. Bit of a sweaty mess right now. It's fine. I'm going to regroup backstage, and we're back here later on with player interviews after each game. Can't wait for that, but we're about to get this competition well underway. Game 1 is coming your way. Back to you, Mark. Back to you, fellas.
Tell you what, gents, good job. That was 100 players we had to get through there. You forget, you get into Battle Royales and it's like, geez, there's 100. You have to remember there's like 50 players either side of us here. We've got 50 duos to get through. Great to see all of these players descending here into Poland, though. But, I mean, let's talk about the duos. We have to start somewhere. We've seen the guys walk out on the stage now. Obviously, some of them are feeling a little bit more energetic than others. But, I mean, let's talk about it. Who are our early players that we want to keep our eyes on as we move forward?
I think I just predicted about 10 duos that I think are going to win the tournament. But the one I think really to start the day, to set expectations, is Vinny and Zexro. That's the duo that obviously Vinny yesterday having a massive performance, and now in the duos, I want to see how long they've kind of worked out some of that synergy and how that plays up against some of the other longer standing duos too.
Yeah, and it's, of course, it's the team I have my eyes on as well. You know, Vinny with a wonderful performance, and Zexro known for being an amazing player.
It's certainly going to be an exciting couple of days, gentlemen. Obviously, we've got so much money on the line for these guys as well. It's going to be an interesting one. I feel day one, especially these opening games, might be a case of a lot of duos just feeling each other out a little bit, because we do have so many games, as we say, 14 rounds of Fortnite to get through. I feel like when we had those 7 rounds, like yesterday we kicked off the solos, there was some early aggro from a lot of players. They were taking those fights. They were trying to get limbs on the board. But I feel like placement points, especially in these first few rounds, might be what a lot of these duos are looking for.
Yeah, that's very fair. That's where we'll see the game slow down as we reach that 25 duos remaining point, because nobody wants to fall out before the placement points actually apply. But I think that's where the adaptation over 14 games will come through, is we'll end up seeing a lot of the drop spots change when one team has established dominance. I think that is that key thing for the early games, who then changes around their drop spot.
The flex, isn't it?
Yeah.
The early flex. Win that battle, you're flexing.
And we were talking a lot about drop zones, right? And now being an international tournament, it's impossible to know if you're going to be contested or not. So, yeah.
Another thing we have to talk about as well, this is the first time that we've had duos action on Season 8 as well, just to make things a little bit more difficult for these guys. You know, they've had their set drop spots every time that they've been playing through Season 7. They've been teaming together. And now it's all changed again. We've got a volcano popping up. And, you know, I want to talk about duos a little bit more, because obviously back at the Secret Skirmish as well, they were randomized duos. So now these guys are getting to play with their teammates. This is going to increase that level of competition even more. There's not one bad player in this lobby, which just makes it all the more exciting.
Yeah,
I'm right.
Because we're watching the countdown tick down until this first game. Yeah, there really is nobody here that you can sleep on. We saw that yesterday. I think it was Bizzle was kind of looking one way in a firefight, then somebody surprise from behind comes in, gets the elimination, and you know, Bizzle, it just ends up dropping early out of that game, out of the placement points. That type of thing, a little less likely to happen in duos. You do obviously get that knocked down situation. It's a little bit less instant elimination, but still, you've got to be careful from every single angle.
I'm looking forward to seeing what some of our international duos can do as well. They certainly stood up skill-wise yesterday. Decision-making was on point. Mechanically, so impressive. Now we're into the duos. If they're doing it in the solos, I really want to see their teamwork come through. I want to see what these guys are going to bring to the table. Certainly going to keep my eyes on a couple of the international duos, especially the Brazilian and the South Korean guys. I just feel like they've got something special up their sleeves today.
And something we haven't really touched on is the ping system in Season 8. And this is very relevant when it comes to duos, right? because you can ping walls for combos, you can ping items and point out things to your teammate. In solos, you know, there's no need to ping anything unless you want to know the distance to something. But in duos, it's way more apparent.
Well, speaking of Season 8 and some of the changes, we actually asked some of the players yesterday what their impressions were on Season 8 after getting their hands on it.
Pretty good. I think, in my opinion, it's pretty nice. Like, there's a lot of bug fixes. There's some new things, some new stuff, map changes. Overall, I think pretty good.
We got to look at the map a little bit, but other than that, just saw there were cannons, and that's really all we saw so far, so it should be interesting. I've been playing Sea of Thieves, which is a different game a little bit, so I'm getting used to the cannons already, I guess, so it's good.
I'm not really too worried about the new map. It's more of the players that we're playing against who we don't play against too often, so that's what I'm more worried about.
Yeah, we were just in the player lounge and we were looking at a bit the patch notes and stuff like that.
What are your initial thoughts on it?
I think it should be pretty interesting with the cannons. Not sure how they're going to work, and the new drop spots. I think I might try one of them for solos.
I'm really worried about the volcano, right? Yes, because they give some 1 damage, and if the circle to ground, when play in the ground and some guys hit the Viper, and I will get the 1 point in ground, 1 damage in the ground, so I'm really worried about that.
Well, our spot has been changed completely, so going into that, obviously tomorrow and the weekend, we're going to have to change our tactics up a little bit. We've already kind of got like a little guide on what we want to do, but obviously until we jump in there, we're not going to know what we've got to do. So.
But yeah, the patch notes definitely good and step in the right direction. No bad notes really.
And also the skins are really cool. So.
Yeah, we made sure we were active when we looked at that. I saw the new POIs, the cannon. I'm not sure how that's gonna work. I'm not sure if it's a trap, but it looks like it would be a good rotation item if it is. Yeah, other than that, I'm excited to play on this patch. Anything without planes is amazing.
True.
Your thoughts on it?
I was scared before the patch note, but after seeing it, I think map changes is no big deal. Like, it won't change the meta a lot, and the fact that there are no more planes is just positive. And yeah, I'm waiting to see what the cannon is going to do.
I have not actually seen too much about Season 8. I know that one of the buildings in my landing spot, Tilted Towers, has changed a little bit. I heard about the volcano and stuff like that, so I'm really interested to see how it unfolds this tournament.
It's pretty good that they changed like a bit of the map. I like new spots or like new things that are added into the game. So it should be fun.
Yeah, it's fire.
It's fire. I love ending on that. Some varied opinions. Some people a little bit nervous by the looks of things, because obviously it's the first time they're going to be competing on Season 8, but also a lot of excitement about, you know, getting their hands on it and being able to traverse the map in different ways. And that's something that really stood out for me yesterday, was that mobility, Martin. I want to kind of point this in your direction. We saw those volcanic vents being such a big influence on the game, especially when we saw that final circle moving towards that volcano. What were your thoughts on what you saw from those vents and the added mobility in Season 8?
Well, at first I thought, hey, this is a great way to rotate and there's no risks involved. Well, I oversaw those risks because, as we saw yesterday, people were kind of sitting up right next to these vents by the last couple of zones and just waiting for people to use them to their advantage. But, you know, we saw some players using them and then instantly being shot down. So there's a risk to it as well.
Well, there is a risk to it, but it's time to get into our gameplay for today. Round number 1 is underway. Stress, Mine Creek, take it away, gents.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event. Duos, 14 games at the ESL Katowice Royale. So settle yourself next to the pool of Paradise Palms, stock up on Slurp Juice, because we are in for the long haul. And these were our solos winners from yesterday, or our solo winner yesterday. As Vinny, we saw him dropping over in Snobby. The distribution of teams, to start this off. How many teams do you think viably are going to be landing in the same spot? Because it's a whole lot more difficult than solos, right, to get that loot disparity.
Yeah, that's right. Like we mentioned earlier, I think we'll see a lot of things changing after maybe 1 or 2 games. In the beginning, you might see some contesting going on, but you know, these players want to get to late game as soon as possible. I want to say that at the first couple of games. So maybe we'll see a bit more passive play here. And when they figure out where, like, how many people, how many opponents are in their vicinity, they will start making different plans.
It's interesting. We did see Vinny drop in on Snobby, right? And now we see as well Animal and Aspect here as well. If I'm not mistaken, they might end up against each other. But we've got a very South Storm, or at least safe zone, to start things off. But Duos is a little slower. In the early game, in the mid game as well, just there's fewer fights because you can't get that one pump and, oh, you've won the fight instantly. The elimination's gone off. You can't just move on. You have to take both teammates down, or at least get one and then rotate out. We're seeing Aiden and Nick Merckx here, Keolis, Mixalibur, Fax Fox, and Aim Hero all in Tilted Towers.
It looks like they will be pretty aggressive here to begin with. They haven't really spotted their opponents, but they are moving as a unit right now. Whereas Mixalibur seems to be kind of split from his opponent, from his teammate.
And this is one of the areas where we're expecting more action in the early game, just the way that Tilted tends to play out. As Aim Hero and Fax Fox very vocal on Twitter to say, oh no, we're coming Tilted, and anybody else who lands here, be prepared to fight.
You know, that could be a scare tactic as well. You want to scare those players away, but you know, Aiden and Nick Merckx won't really give that up so easy.
Yeah, they well known for it. Everybody knows they're dropping there.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the surprise. Is it 14 solid games of Tilted Towers for Aiden and Nick Merckx, or do they say, okay, maybe we've lost this fight, or we didn't win every single one, so maybe we move? It's game 1 of the weekend. 14 games total over 2 days. And we are in for the long haul. No player has been eliminated so far. Yeah. So we're in. In fact, 2 players aren't in this, so we're with Blacks as Hunter does get downed, and Hunter actually drops the case. You can see that in the action feed. So 96 players remain on this one.
So that's the first team going down to start this day off. And looking here at Blacks, so he does have a minigun and a attack shotgun, so that's in his advantage, but it looks like they will start to push in here like pretty fast.
Down goes the Vic, tries to get the angle on the fight. Envy is going to get down to start this off. Blacks is going to try and spin up that minigun. Envy is out of here already as the Vic takes a lot of damage, and now it's Sinnoh. 1 versus 2. The health is low on the Vic, but Sinnoh's going to take this one slower, just get himself behind a wall.
And we see Vic here with his team, and Vic and Black, so just taking it really slow. You don't want to push in too much and make mistakes here. They do already have 1 elimination. They don't necessarily need to go for the second push. Not really sure if I agree with it. You do have the upper hand, but you know, taking it slow is what we expected at this point.
Jamside and 7 SSK, 7 pushing towards Zeke and Poverty, didn't get the rift. It was Zeke that goes through, and that's a lot of damage that's been done in the air. Trying to track him down, trying to get any last shot that they can to pick up a down to start this. But, oh, look at how low Zeke is. Poverty just gets taken out from 135 meters to get downed.
And we see Zeke doesn't really have a lot of health here, so not quite sure if they will make it way out of this one.
Yeah,
Pretty
this would be a
though.
very tricky one because Zeke has to track back and find Poverty. So looks like the Russian and Belarus duo are going to pick up their first elimination of this game.
And that's right. And as they do so, looks like Paradise is theirs for the taking now. There's no one else in there, which is somewhat of a surprise being such of a hotspot.
Right, and maybe talk to us a little bit about why that could be, because I know some of the mobility, like the rifts, were changed on this southeast side of the map.
We saw Poverty go there for a finish, but yeah, you know, we could get back to that in a second. We do have Tux here jumping into a little fight.
Yeah, Provoked is here alongside him, and they're trying to get onto that first floor. Looks like Jules and M11Z, or Mies here, to try and take this fight.
We do see a secondary team up on the mountain right next to them, so that's something you have to bear in mind. If you do take this fight, you will have the risk of another team jumping in. So I'd expect these players to maybe go back a little bit, maybe not engage in a fight, but at the same time, as soon as you rotate away from there, the other team might just, shoot, fire at you from behind.
Aim Hero did just go down in the action feed, but here we're on with Provoke trying to get through that wall, does break it to start, but ends up with a little damage traded in response. You can hear the explosives are going off. Gonna try and disrupt as much of this building as possible. Dynamite has been charged. Tux is trying to run away, see where he can get to. Loses all of his cover at this point, and Jules is gonna try and just get a few shots with that silenced SMG.
Using those dynamite to their advantage, opening up. Oh, that's a beautiful plate, actually.
Jules just took so much damage in response, and Provoke trying to come over the top. That's a third party, I think. The ones from the hill that you were talking about as Provoke gets shut down, and this is the dangerous situation with duos, is you can't just relentlessly be aggressive, but that is so much damage coming through as Provoke ends up dropping. Jules gets a wall up, but it's too late. Now trying to drop down to the low ground to settle himself, and Tux, did he just get sniped?
I believe so. That's the danger of having a team nearby.
That was Nate Hill, and Funk Bomb from the hill takes him out. His duo is already down. The duo is out.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, that's a risk, and they will be happy with that. Funk Bomb and Nate will just, we're happy with that elimination. We'll head out. But look at this tilted action already.
Yeah, Keolis, without his duo, will get dropped by Nick Merckx, and Nick Merckx and Aiden may very well have established themselves as the Kings of Tilted in Game 1, because Aim Hero and Fax Fox fell already. I saw that in the action feed earlier on. So some important eliminations over in Tilted.
Yes, I did see a secondary, third team making their way into Tilted, so let's see how long they can actually hold that for. A little bit of a fight here going on the outside of Dusty Divot.
Yeah, this is Mota and Eric Triceps, who, Eric, it's his first real experience in a tournament setting. This is very early launch pad to start moving. Is that just to disengage from that fight completely and say, okay, we'll take a fight another day?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't necessarily need to use those mobility items to rotate, but sometimes you do need to use them to get away from a fight and live to see another day.
Nate Hill and Funk Bomb are in Fatal, but there's teams in the cornfields for now. Just hiding out, trying to just keep themselves safe.
That's a scary spot, right? You can't really see people moving around there, except for the little grass like bumping up. This is Via Linen and Windwalker, as you said it. I mean, they're not alone here, though. It's getting pretty scary. We have the twins, Jesse and Jordan, making their way in.
At all, and here we go. The first time on stream at an international tournament, we are going to see the X2 twins in duos here in Europe as live and in person. Now we get to see them go up against Funk Bomb and Nate as well. Over the top they go, and look at this. Funk Bomb gonna back himself away, make sure he's closer to Nate. This is one of these real dream duos that we want to see face off against each other, but it's gonna be slow and steady to start this one off. Look at the disengage from Nate and Funk Bomb. They are constantly trying to just put up as much in the way as they can, but a lot of it has just got dropped. Nate just took a lot of damage from this, and over the top, Jesse goes. Jordan is tracking a little bit further behind him, and they have to watch their own backs because we know there were other teams around Fatal.
And you can just see their synergy already, taking different angles, having one of them push up while one stays behind on higher ground, trying to suppress some fire while,
Jesse's gone over the top. He's dropping down towards Funk Bomb. If he can get through this wall, maybe he can get it, but he's got to be careful of where Nate Hill is. Jesse trying to build up, get that high ground, and the X2 twins have secured the advantageous position for themselves, but they have to convert it. Edit comes through, does not hit the shot, and Jordan takes a lot of damage in response. Now they desperately have to scramble to get that high ground and still watch their backs, because you can see top side of your screen, that other team is already building their way towards this fight.
And what may have started as an upper hand is now about to turn around here. It's a little bit of a slow fight, which we've been talking about, duos.
And Nick Merckx just took out Vivid and Poach. It just came through in the action feed. That is a massive set of pickups for Nick Merckx and Aiden, who I think a lot of people underestimated. We talk about them so much as having kind of that gimmick of the Kings of Tilted, but they, in Game 1, seem to be going off. The X2 twins have slowed down. Nate and Funk Bomb have settled themselves as well, and Storm Surge is kicking in, but I don't think it's going to affect any of the players here.
And this is what we've been talking about when we're into duos. These fights may take a little bit longer, a little bit more of a standoff, especially when so much is at stake. You don't really want to rush in and just go for those eliminations, because you don't want to make it to end game. You don't want to make sure you actually last.
Funk Bomb even finding enough time to just peek off to the north, see if you can pick somebody off as they run, but We saw yesterday how that can be punished. If somebody comes from behind, if you're not expecting it, if you don't hear them coming, then you can end up dropping quite easily. But I think this is going to be a war of attrition between Jordan, Jesse, Nate, Hill, and Funk Bomb. It's going to be whoever makes the first wrong move is going to get punished heavily. But Funk Bomb for now is just saying, okay, I'll just take pot shots.
Yeah, no real point in engaging here. They do know they have teams right next to each other, or right next to them. So engaging in a fight here is probably not the wisest move. You know, Nate as well, just chilling back a bit.
A duo with a lot of experience here on the Katowice stage. Hoopex and Skix making their way up towards this very same area. We are about to have a clash of titanic names around Fatal Fields. And, you know, they've been playing now, this is the second week of competition. Out comes some clingers, I think it was, at the side, down towards the bottom of this. And that's just to cover their own movement over to the side of this hill. Nate can't quite get the angle. He's built himself into a defensive position as it is. And back to that trade with the X2 twins.
And I'm not quite sure if they know that there's another team up on that hill. It was a really risky rotation through, I mean, there's 3 teams right next to them. Using those clingers to ensure somewhat of a safe rotation, and that's what I like about using explosives, especially bottle rockets. It may not really be that strong, but if you use them to your advantage when you rotate, you can distract them.
Nick Merckx and Aiden may be in a little bit of trouble because Tixi and Mushway are in this storm with them. They're fighting, but none of them have dropped for now. Mushway has to get himself out. Aiden has fallen. Jordan and Jesse have just gone down to Funk Bomb. That is a massive pickup as both of the X2 twins eliminated by Funk Bomb and Nate Hill just outside Fatal.
And that can happen when you have a standoff going on for so long. You might not really watch your 6, and it's really, yeah, could.
Importantly, Aiden hasn't yet been eliminated. He was downed, and I think by the looks of it, he got himself inside the safe zone. But it's now on Nick Merckx to get around the corner and actually bring him back up. In fact, I think Nick Merckx just fell as we take a look at a lot of that loot scattering down. So out of this game already, and so many players have just been eliminated. A lot of it is due to the way that that Storm Surge kicks in, and you have to keep dealing damage, or you'll take damage from the Storm if you're under that threshold.
If you don't see a lot of action in the early game, you will see it around this time. The circle is getting closer. Players do have to rotate to the third circle. And yeah, as we can see here, a lot of players just stacking up on top of each other. Alpha very low here on the bridge.
Alpha low on the bridge, desperately gets himself away, but look at the names. It's 72 Hours, Chap, Demo, and Bizzle. Some of the best North America has to offer on this bridge. And Bizzle already has 1 elimination to his name. How much more can we get? Because we are not in the placement points yet. 25th is the first position that you can start getting points for placement. At this point, it's just that 5 points per elimination that is active in this game.
And this is somewhat of a, I wouldn't say sweet spot there, but this is the point where, as you said, you're almost by the placement points, so you do anything to stay alive at this point.
Yeah, you just settle in, try and get yourself into any corner which people can't eliminate you from. Tajowski taking damage from the side as Nero is alongside him. They are bunched together, trying to shoot out at Far, one of our Brazilian competitors. Now all from 2 sides, Tajowski and Nero are closing in. Far tries to drop out the back. Stink Bomb will cover him for now as Nero is taking damage from the hill. Zeke, I think, was the one that was just clipping out a third party from a third duo at this point as Nero is taking more damage from the side. Far was finished off by Tajowski, so Tajowski picks up his 2nd elimination and the crowd react. This is the performance we wanted to see out of Tajowski that we didn't last week, and he's showing up in game 1.
And as we can see, they're trying to recover here from the fight. They do have a lot of good stuff in their inventory. In duos, you know, you do have those extra 5 slots where you can kind of mix it up a bit. You can carry more stuff. You can carry more mobility. You can carry more utility. And as we saw, they did have a rift. They did have a lot of shields. And all they have to do now is recover and start making it forward.
Yep, at this point, they pretty healthy for Tajowski and Nero. Motor is sat just there. He's like, I really hope they don't push me in the same way that they just got that elimination. It's so difficult 1 versus 2, right, man? Like when you're in a 1-by-1 and you have a duo either side of your walls, it's near impossible.
At that point, you just hold your thumbs, stay as quiet as possible, and hope for the bad men to go away.
They won't go away in this setting unless there's like the storm pushing them already. At that point, they'll just stand and take that elimination, right? It's so tough to end up losing a situation 2 versus 1, but we have seen it in the Polish duos. We actually saw a final showdown, 2 versus 1, and it was 1 from the low ground. And we'll see whether anything as crazy as that happens in this game. But that's one of the reasons why we're seeing the minigun picked up by a lot more players than we were anticipating last week. The ability to just chew through a lot of building, disrupt a lot of what people are doing when you're in a safe position is something that the players talked about a lot.
We will see Jay and Zero here probably recycling the existing rift used. Yep. Get in there before it disappears, get that free rotation, and see Lolito landing here on the middle of the bridge. Not sure if he is alone. He is not. His friend Isma is here.
I'm pretty sure Lolito is never alone with the amount of followers and viewers Lolito typically has. I guarantee there are always people checking in on him, and we can check in on Aspect and Animal that were in the screen, but we're jumping over to Tajovsky and Nero, who rift as well. Mota is trying to get his way up, but he can't get the rift. He can't take the taxi out, as Milan and Smeef are under a lot of pressure from Jam side on the side. There's so many people firing at them, as Violinen is going to just peek through the roof and just say, okay, for now, I think we're fine.
We eventually did see Smeef go down there, so better luck next time. And just look at this. We're at the bridge. We have a campfire, a little smoke going off there, a bunch of people stacked up on each other. And this is a very scary place for a zone to start moving. You have the river. If it goes back and forth, it's gonna cause a lot of chaos.
Yeah, and there are some big names here. As you said, Animal and Aspect right in the middle. You got Scram over on the right-hand side of your screen. He picked up a victory royale yesterday in the solos and seems to be okay. Full health and shields right now. There's so many people around him. I think it's Jules and Mies just behind where the map is on your screen. They're over on the right side of it, and there's just everybody here.
That's right. We can see the circle now making it to the 4th one, all the way up north. This is a lot of rotation.
This is a very dangerous valley to go through as well, right? There's that river area, and either side, big hills, as Zate is going to try and get Jam side and 7SSK7.
If you're one of the teams now on the southern side of this zone and you do not have a lot of storm surge out there.
Yeah, a lot.
If you do not have a lot of mobility, any mobility, if you're on the south side of the zone here, you're in a lot of trouble right now.
Oh, Black's actually dying to Storm Surge there. Gets eliminated because he couldn't get into a position to deal damage. 72 Hours just picked up Alpha, and Nate Hill just got downed by Fwexy from 70 meters. We'll see whether they can pick him up as Cloud ends up falling to Seth.
Looks like his teammate Myth is still in it though. That was a knock into an elimination.
Constant Storm Surge damage here on the teams. 25 damage it's hitting for. So you can't really sit around. You can't really just take that damage. Myth's still in this game as Majin, a second place from yesterday, is going to glider his way onto the side of the river. Tajovsky moves, Mies moves, Jules moves as well over the top. And look at where 7SSK7 and Jam side are. They have that high ground. They have the bird's eye view nearly on everything. It's 72 Hours and Chap in the opposite position, right down on the floor, trying to get their way to the zone.
This is just a perfect position to be in now. You have high ground. You have a lot of high ground over everybody. You can just sit up here for a while and watch other players rotate while you get some free shots on them and possibly some eliminations.
Yeah, Isma trying to drop right onto the Russian duo up at the top as we got forward Norwood. There's 4 eliminations to himself. Ares has 1 as well. So this is 25 points in the bag already, and 28 teams remain. 28 duos means we are only 3 elimination sets away from those placement points. So you don't want to drop now, otherwise you don't get any points for surviving.
We just see the circle making it all the way back here to the southern side. And there's a lot of existing buildings there, so that might work in the advantage or in the disadvantage of other players.
7SSK7's running the medic build right now. Campfire, mini potions, big potions, slip, juice, everything. He's like, I've got it. Only thing I need is like bandages or a first aid kit.
Just a perfect loadout for the end game. Circle starts to move here, going into the 6th one. I love that sound, by the way.
Skyd is trying to just angle his way through anything he can. 4 clingers in the inventory that we just saw, and they're going to become prevalent as here goes the movement. All the way with that storm. This build path is going to flow like a river, up the river and back down, because it is following its own track. A lot of eliminations just came through as Animal and Aspect trying to track it forward. Underneath them, Ghost, Bizzle, and Demo are making their way in. Myth's still alive. We're keeping an eye on that name because he's under so much pressure from people. That's why I'm tracking him so much. He had clingers, he had people shooting at him. 7 SSK7!
That was full damage.
They had such a good position at the top of the mountain and ends up getting eliminated early. 21 teams remain. We are into the points as Animal is going to get forced to move from that stink grenade. Not too far for now.
Now the circle's making its way up again. It's going up, it's going down, it's going up. This is just very dangerous right now for players. There's a lot of builds going on, and
Vinny just got himself an elimination. I saw it in the action feed here as well as Demo's tracking. He's one of the first ones on the move. And Chap, Zextro, at the bottom, on the floor of this move, and Zayt, look at this position for Saf and Zayt. That is what you want to see right now. If they have the materials to keep going, they have 55 builds on Zayt for now.
And I love this building. They maintain their high ground while using their lower ground to their advantage, where another team is building right below them. So they do have that safe layer and can maintain the really, really high ground here.
Yeah, and it's, now we're on with 72 hours. One of the duos that just has so much expectation on them, and they're into the end game. As Chap no longer in this game. Chap taken down by Tajovsky as the crowd roars once again.
Just a lot of buildings here. This is going to be really difficult for players to make it through. Zayt and Sapphire still on the high ground. Right below them we have Momentos. Looks to be alone. No Vexy is with him.
Saf and Zayt, they do have the builds, they have ammo available. Aspect picks one, 72 hours has got camo. Just saw that in the action feed as BloodX very low on the bottom. 2 eliminations for Saf and Zayt as they're trying to just keep as much of this position as they can. Tajovsky just got 72 hours. Talk about showing up in his hometown here. Tajovsky on Polish soil doing very well in game 1. Aspect with 2 eliminations to his name. Mitro's still in this game as he took down Svenos.
Svenos dropping down there, as I said. I don't think Tajovsky can make it out of this one, though. He's always dropping very low. He did eventually go out. Demo taking out.
We're down to 5. 3 duos remain, and Aspect and Animal must be in such a good position. Demo down on the low ground. It's Zayt and Saf up on the top. This is an all-American brawl at this point as Aspect takes out Demo. Animal still looking for more. Saf picks up the knockdown on Animal at the bottom. It's 4 players remain. Is this a 2 versus 2 as Demo had fallen? Animal knocked in the storm. Aspect getting pressured from the top as Zayt trying to drop down on him as Saf is there as well. Saf trying to find that angle, looks for the shot, doesn't quite get it, but it's enough to finish them off with a victory royale for Saf and Zayt.
Beautiful performance. They're just maintaining the high ground, just showing everybody, hey, we're here, we got the high ground. We can jump down as well. We don't need to take it. And yeah, just great performance overall.
Great performance. And North America showing up huge in the way that this duo has played out. Just getting themselves into the zone. We have basically an all-star cast for the North America Fortnite community just playing through those last couple of storms. We saw everybody just tracking their way through. And Saf and Zayt, great performance. That's that high ground transitioning with the materials, with the ammo, with everything to pick up that victory royale.
Yeah, continuing from where they left off. I mean, Saf, he was first in the secret skirmish duos last time we've seen him. That was with a random teammate. Now he's got someone he wants to team with, and hey, what's surprising there? You know, he takes home the first victory royale of the day. What a performance from those 2 gentlemen. And I want to talk about the start of the game as well, because we talked about at the end. We've seen what happened at the end. Great stuff. I love that tilted battle, man, at the start. I mean, we've got to give a shout out to Aiden and Nick Merckx. They dominated that tilted job because we saw a few things on Twitter between a few of the players saying, we're going tilted, we'll see you there. Still the kings of tilted.
I think there's that expectation where a lot of the competitive games so far, we've seen a lot of focus on Aiden and Nick Merckx when it's always just about tilted, but actually performed really well in this first game. And I think that's a reason to watch them because of that performance, especially Nick Merckx. He comes in, he wasn't here yesterday for solos and puts up some good numbers.
I mean, what impressed you so much about Saf and Zayt there towards that end game? Because they seem to just maintain that high ground, which has made their job so much easier.
So what stood out to me was the fact that they had a really high ground. And normally you would go down a couple of layers to make sure you can't get shot down and die by fall damage. But they had a team right below them who were also on high ground and just like making their way across the map. And instead of going down, they just use this other layer to their advantage, making sure that all right, if we do get shot down now, we'll just have another layer to land on.
Okay, then. Well, I think it's time that we hear from our winners of that game number 1. They're down on the floor with Adam. Congratulations, boys.
Thanks so much, Mark. Yeah, I'm joined by Zayt and Saf here. Fellas, you seem so calm, so composed, considering you just won the very first game. What's going through your minds right now? How are you feeling?
I feel like I'm at home right now. I'm just like, when we're screaming, I'm never stressed, I'm never nervous. My first tournaments, I was kind of nervous, a little shaky, but right now I just feel like I'm at home.
I mean, I saw you guys in the green room beforehand, just chilling out, lying on the beanbag, just relaxing. I mean, you've come into this Saf as well. You seem very relaxed.
Well, yeah, we did good this game, but like we said, it's like a marathon, so we gotta keep doing well.
Now, you guys got 4 eliminations during that and the Victory Royale as well. It couldn't have gotten off to a better start. Talk me through the strategy in the game. Did everything pan out as you hoped?
So we had like no kill, not a lot of mobility. And then midway through a game, someone just opened a window and I had a grenade launcher. So I just like tossed some grenade launcher in there and I got a kill. And that gave us like launch pads and all that stuff, max mats. So we just used a launch pad and we just like went for height. It was like free. And then from there, we just kept the height like the whole game.
And also as well, obviously, you finished the game together as well. That's a massive bonus, finishing a game, working together as a team the entire time.
Yep, it's awesome. We both ran out of mats, both dropped at the same time and killed the guy.
Now, going into the competition now, do you stick to the same, just go with the flow, or did you adapt every time you play a different game?
I'd say we adapt. You can't, Fortnite's not a recipe. You can't just do that. Just like strats you're going to do like almost every game, but yeah, you have to adapt every single game because it's going to be different.
Amazing. Once more, Zayt and Saf, thank you guys so much. The winners of game number 1 at the ESL Katowice Royale. Well done, guys. At this point, you're the closest to the trophy, but there's a long way to go. Best of luck with the rest of the competition, guys. Back to you, Mark. Back to you guys. What a great game that was.
Fantastic stuff from those 2 gentlemen. Not too surprised to see them taking home that first Victory Royale there. But something I want to touch on here, we talk about how important the eliminations are in game, because we're always on about points. It's all about points. If they hadn't have got that elimination by firing those grenades through that window, they don't have the mobility. So looting, obviously, so important for these players. And another reason to force those engagements if you don't have the inventory that you potentially need.
Yeah, that's one of those things that progressively, as you get the eliminations, I mean, generally, the teams that have the higher eliminations get the better inventory kind of by osmosis, right? You just end up getting people's stuff, and you say, okay, well, that's mine now.
It's a snowball effect we've been talking about. If you do get some good loot from an elimination, you do get a bunch of items, and you can just use that to your advantage to continue making it to the late game, and eventually, like we saw, just taking home the victory.
Yeah, Aspect, a bit of a caught between a rock and a hard place there towards the end with the 2 players dropping on him, but a solid performance coming in for those 2 as well.
Did well, because yesterday it took a little while for Animal and Aspect to warm up. As we said, like I think that was just normal for the players that on this stage were getting used to it. And this game 1, he's like, no, nothing that I need to warm up anymore, making it to the late game, making it to that last zone.
Okay, well, fantastic stuff, gentlemen. Game number 1 is done and dusted. We're going to go for a break right now, but when we get back, we've got plenty more coming your way.